Meta, I'm so happy to be here with you for the 92nd Street Y, the Happiness Summit. It's all happening right now with me and you. And we've had a few minutes before this actual recording just to connect with each other. And it's so great to be here and address coping with loss.
Absolutely. It's so good to see you again. And I'm so happy that you're able to provide a platform because not many people are able to find ways, to cope with loss or even, pay for therapy is expensive. And sometimes you feel lonely for many different reasons. It's really hard to deal with. So I'm happy that you're really addressing it and bringing light to it.
Thank you, Meta. And thank you for your support of the Care Love Project, our 501c3, and Giving Grief Meaning. It means the world to have your support and to have a friend on the journey together.
Absolutely.
Can just talk about it because everyone faces.
Well, I remember when I was 17 years old, I was actually playing basketball in Phoenix. I was with Lamar Odom, Elton Brand, some of my friends, Eric Barkley, Reggie Jesse. A couple of the guys went to the NBA. And we were 16 years old. And I got a call that my sister passed away with SIDS. And I remember coming back on that flight. It was like the longest flight ever. And it was like turbulence on the flight. Plane was dropping, and I was just sick, just trying to make my way back to New York City, from an AAU basketball tournament. And I remember that just affected me. I actually got her name tattooed on me. The next season I came out, we actually went 27-0 that season. And I was just, but although it gave me some fire and passion, it also was something that I didn't quite heal from, and that was probably one of the toughest things I had to cope with. And then in 2014, my sister passed away. She was only 38 years old too, but she passed away of cancer. My little sister passed away of SIDS. My older sister passed away of cervical cancer. And I remember in training camp not being able to sleep. I was with the Knicks. I was literally going to sleep at like 6 a.m., 8 a.m. I couldn't sleep at all. I was getting 2 hours of sleep. Then I had to wake up at like 9 to go to practice. I was cranky and didn't really cope with it or sit down and figure out a way, to let it go. And it actually got the worst of me. Got the best.
It's true. And when we sweep these things under the rug, I know for me, if I try to pretend it didn't happen, it gets bigger and uglier. And then all of a sudden, I'm acting out of that place. And I'm so happy that there are people like you where we can talk about the tools that we use. And I don't know about you, but for me, acting as if, contrary action, doing the opposite when I'm not feeling good about a situation or circumstance, sometimes just taking the time to take 3 breaths is one of the tools that I've used. And I've noticed that you've employed that so much, having been instigated before, and you had the great honor of working with Phil Jackson. And is that the right, am I saying the right name? He's
absolutely.
You've been inspired. How has he inspired your wellness journey? I'm really curious.
Yeah, I mean, I think, when you're talking about being able to balance your life and being able to kind of get through challenging times, it's always best to reflect it, and have some type of awareness of your center self. That's what Phil's about, Buddhism, meditation, awareness, calm, resolve. And sometimes we don't take time to think about that, from everything from his session that we would have, when he shuts the lights off in the video room before we start to watch game tape, and that's just a part of life. And he's not really thinking about basketball at that point. And, when you're going through different things, you're always able to reflect at those certain times. And I think he had a huge impact on my life.
I love that. And it shows. And we were talking before the taping began just about how the wellness community responded to your name change in that Buddhist tradition, metta. And I feel that, I feel that metta when I talk to you, and people were showing their appreciation so deeply. For those who are watching, Meta was really surrounded by the wellness community, with people interested not only in his basketball, he's an NBA world champ, amazing, but people really came to him thanking him for spreading awareness of that we
Yeah,
don't
because
hide
it's
our.
a little different because, a lot of people, we're not used to being vulnerable, right?
Yeah.
We're not used to asking for help, right? We're like, we can do it on our own, or I'm not going to let you know if I'm seeing a therapist. I'm not going to let you know if I'm dealing with loss. I'm not going to let you know how I'm feeling. And loss could be so many different things. It could be, some people lose their homes. Some people lose, relationships. Some people lose loved ones, So it's like, how do you deal with, how do you grieve? And even in the pandemic, we dealt with not personal losses. Some people have personal losses, but globally, we had millions of people are lost. That we lost, and as humans, we that it affects us more than what people think. And then how do you deal with that, right? Sometimes you gotta reflect and ask yourself, am I actually going through something today? I don't feel like myself,
And it's hard to feel like ourselves when we can't actually reach out and shake each other's hand and be together. Like, I know I would love to be sitting with you here today, and there is grief around that. Yes, there is the beauty of being able to connect with people in different states and different countries, and looking to that always brings a better state of mind, or a more expanded state of mind. But getting back to what you said about people wanting not to talk about their struggles, you changed the landscape of mental wellness by thanking your therapist publicly, and made it okay for people like me to say, yeah, I've been in therapy, I seek help, and made it possible for people like me to go on and write my book, Giving Grief Meaning, and talk about some of the darker subjects, like the loss that comes out of addiction, and the loss of course, of my child, Kara, which I know you and I relate to the pain of sudden infant death syndrome.
Yeah, very, very late. My sister died of sudden infant death. That's the first time I ever heard of it. I'm just like, what is SIDS? And then I learned about it, and even then when I had my first child, I was really worried, because I had my first child literally 2 years after my sister passed away. And I was always worried about SIDS. It was a tough one. Being 2.5 months, you're not even able to see the baby grow. And I did have a dream. I would say 13 years later, and I believe that it was her. And she actually appeared as a 13-year-old. I can't remember everything that happened in the dream, but it actually, it was kind of, I would say, it just felt good, to actually see her at an older age, in my dream. Was it real? Was it not? I'll leave that up for other people to debate, but it felt really good.
Ram Dass said that God is in the imagination, and the imagination is in God. And I think, if I can speak for you, and you can tell me if I'm wrong, I think we pay attention to the synchronicities. We pay attention to the beauty. We pay attention to the dreams. We pay attention to what's working. Like, somehow we get up, the lights are turned on, my ring light's working, the internet's on, we're here. And if I can just pay attention to those things that are working, I can be in a better headspace. I know, like so many people, today, the holidays are on us, and it's easy to get a Halloween hangover, a Thanksgiving hangover from either food, alcohol, whatever. And, how do I forgive myself for having that 15th piece of candy?
Yeah, it's really hard.
How do
And
I
also,
say?
the alcohol doesn't help. I remember being younger and thinking that I can just, suppress with some alcohol, and that doesn't really work, right?
No. And you know what's interesting is people think there's this culture nowadays that says, okay, I'm going to be happy. I need to take the edge off. I'm just going to have a drink of this. I'm going to overconsume that. That is short-lived, not authentic happiness through escape. Authentic happiness comes from feeling the pain of loss, from connecting like we are today, connecting, coping with loss, getting through together, getting through as brothers and sisters on the journey. And then out of that, by being able to hold my sadness, by being able to hold my pain, by being able to hold my not enoughness or vulnerability, as you
Yes,
said, by being able to hold that, I make space for more authentic joy.
I agree.
Thank
Yeah,
you.
I agree because it's like you can't suppress it. You actually can deal with it face to face. I never really heard of it like that, but it just makes so much sense to hold on to it, address it face to face, versus having, a substance, kind of address it for you or suppress it for 10 minutes or even a day. Then you wake up feeling worse, the next day.
I love what's come out of just this brief discussion, and I would love to get together with you after this and continue the conversation. I actually took M out for Meta, and it's
Absolutely.
interesting, like the change of a name and what we name, and that's the subject of my book, Giving Grief Meaning, where the proceeds, as you know, go to the Care of Love Project, which in turn supports great organizations like yours, our Test University, which helps kids who may not have the tools, who may not be able to come on, might not know that there's a resource like the 92nd Street Y and the Happiness Summit. Thank you for being part of that public voice. I mean, and that's what we're doing today. When we come out into the public eye and we embrace our vulnerability and see the strength in vulnerability. I love that you brought up the word vulnerable because it's a word that should be celebrated.
Absolutely.
And I just applaud you for using that word and bringing that word to the children and seeing that we in the public, that we who have means, that we do have a responsibility. We do have a responsibility to educate, to connect authentically, to connect right here, right now. And I just appreciate your authentic voice. There's no BS with you. You're going to just say it. And we've just so appreciated your work. You've helped make our program more visible.
Absolutely. And it's important. I hope more people understand what you're doing. And I'm always going to be here to support you. And thanks a lot.
I can't even tell you. And just a side note, best of luck with your app. There are people, I've been following you on Instagram, and I think it's wonderful. And I think that sports are so much a part of that, and getting people together and getting community together through sports. You've been such a champion of that and helping people come together, in whatever ways. Sports is so much a part of wellness. I've got my Peloton bike, that's my way to wellness. But if I didn't have that outlet, right, I wouldn't be able to connect with you in the way we connected this morning. And I love basketball too. And all things Meta.
Absolutely. You got to play basketball one day. I mean, it's been great. And I understand you're doing this for the 92nd Street Y, and you're going to have a nice, some great people watching today. So I definitely want to thank everyone that's watching, and thank you also.
Thank you. It's been great to be here at the Happiness Summit. And I don't know about you, but I feel better than when I got on, just connecting with someone and being real. And I hope the listeners feel that. And
I feel the same way. Absolutely. Thank you.